Greetings from World Growth Forums. This is Hasina Parvin, CEO and Editor-in-Chief of World Growth Forums. Welcome to the third and the concluding day of Virtual WGF-GBIF. To open the third day of Virtual WGF-GBIF, I would like to introduce Mr. Kushil Gunasekara as our opening speaker. Mr. Kushil Gunasekara is a world-renowned philanthropist and a results-driven visionary who has impacted rural development in Sri Lanka through pioneering initiatives that have produced empowerment opportunities for over 8 lakh beneficiaries. He is the founder and chief trustee of Foundation of Goodness that has created a USD 22 million humanitarian impact in Sri Lanka. He is also the founder of Good Life Institute. He is also the first ever personal manager for a Sri Lankan sportsman, Mutia Muralidharan, for 20 years. As of the last year, Foundation of Goodness is actively engaged in humanitarian work across 975 plus villages with 15 empowerment centers island wide. Similar to an educational and sports institute, training free of cost to empower 16,600 plus rural kids, youth, and women to make better progress. Additionally, they have also helped more than 291,000 during the Sri Lankan economic crisis through projects such as Feed the Hungry, essential school supplies, medical supplies, and vast number of special projects, including long-term food security, infrastructure, water and sanitation, orphanages, special needs, homes, etc. Now I invite Mr. Kushil Gunasekara to deliver his opening speech of day 3, please. The topic of his opening speech is it a wonderful world full of goodness, human values, and life lessons? How can every human being create an inherent foundation of goodness, which will help him or her serve himself or herself, and inspire and guide to help and serve others, and then the humanity?
Thank you very much, Hasina and the team World Growth Forum for inviting me to share some of my, learnings to become a good human being. So I know you gave me a very vast topic, which ranges from goodness to human values to life lessons and, many areas, how to create an inherent, foundation of goodness within you. And, it's such a broad-based, very versatile kind of topic that I need to, summarize to the best of my ability so that everyone else can also follow a model to be inspired. So, well, I can start saying that goodness is the one investment that never fails. That I have tried over and over again. And the more I did good, the more goodness I was able to do. So, and if people are listening to being a good, kind person, there will always be magic at some stage. It's a very rare combination, and good is hard to do. So it's not easy, as I always keep saying. But if we don't follow our own, goodness inherent with us, you are not going to be happy yourself or make others around you happy. That's the point. So if you're kind, nothing multiplies so much as kindness. Kindness, Hasina, is never out of fashion. So, kindness keeps, people getting attracted to do things that are beneficial for others. So, there are lots of qualities that one should learn how to become a good human being. At the end of the day, it's actually being born human, and the journey is to bridge that gap in becoming a humane person. That is the idea. That's the ideal, because we all are born humans, so we achieve a lot of things, but we never think of that side of being a human person. If I did not become a human person over the years, step by step, foundation of goodness would never have been able to achieve what we have accomplished so far, to alleviate the hardships, the suffering of other people, the struggles, and to ease their pain of mind. So this is what we are good at. And this is because I always thought of being good and to do good, and also be very kind. So, with that comes a whole lot of new, like qualities that we must not neglect, because these qualities are available to us free of cost. You don't have to make an effort. It's all within us, within everybody. So it's all to do with like studying, subjects at the university. You study these subjects. That's all I did, right? To make the world a better place. Then you illuminate. Then you become bright. You become, like a source of light to everyone, and then they follow you, and then it also inspires others, like you very rightly said in the topic, not only to become happier being, but also to make others happy around you. So let me say a few areas, like, say, let's say generosity, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, humility, then patience, gratitude, respect, discipline, caring and sharing, and a good attitude. I mean, if you can get those qualities, thought of, you what is the goal in life? Goal in life is to become happy, right? But people are after material wealth, which is impermanent. They keep changing. You try to go, like you see a mirage, and then you go there, the goalpost shifts, so you want to go further, and it doesn't give you that kind of happiness. But if you have values, that, like I mentioned, are going to give you such joy, and at the end, it's not about, you know getting ahead of someone else, but being better than I used to be. So all I'm saying is that, everything in life has an expiry date. So people should understand that, like, so good times and bad times both actually expire. So during those times, you have to understand that, you should be equanimous. So nothing is going to disturb you, because you manage your expectations, knowing these good and bad times are going to come to you. And as I said before, it's not, I created this, what the classroom didn't teach, on the basis that it's not about getting ahead of someone else, but being better than I used to be. So what you do is, change is inevitable. So you embrace change, but you don't let go of your values. So you raise the bar. You raise the bar and challenge yourselves. We want others to change, but we remain unchanged. That's the issue. So we need to criticize ourselves and see what we can do every single day. What did we do good? And let's do it better. What did we not do so good? And let's eliminate that, even step by step. Then you do a self-assessment, like how you are measured, in companies, key performance indicators. Then you do an assessment for your gross individual happiness, GIH, gross individual happiness. So when you sit down and you meditate, even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes every single day, you begin to think, what did I do today? How do I self-assess myself? If you don't become better than you used to be, whether it's your children, whether it's the people who work with you, nobody is going to follow you, right? If I am going to be better than every day than yesterday, then people are also going to see me change, right? So one day, let's say, for an example, I got angry, and I know I have got angry now, and I eliminate that anger little by little with loving kindness, and I apologize. I ask for forgiveness. And then what a change that will make, So I think, in every one of us, like you said in the topic, we have this inherent foundation of goodness. It's all about trying to see how we can actually deliver this goodness. Speaking about goodness is one thing, but delivering it at the end is the real outcome. We can mesmerize audiences by being a great speaker, but if your speech is not in tune with your action, then that's why we see so many issues in this world. We need to be a doer. We need to be a doer of good. We need to be a doer of kindness. We need to act forgiving others. So many things. We have to show gratitude. We have to be compassionate. So we have to be patient. Patience is one quality that will take you very far. Then humility. Humility is so important because people claim to be somebody, right? And if you tell yourself you're nobody, and then you have peace and zero ego. The ego is the most destructive weapon to eliminate all your good qualities. Because when the ego gets into you, you're like possessed. You're like possessed by evil. So you have to overcome that evil by doing good. Making a difference one single day at a time. I'm not asking you to be doing good like I have dedicated my life every single, moment or minute that I get. I'm doing some good because the practice has got, it's like, say, you're a professional and you're called up for, some counsel. Like that, I have created where people call me to alleviate their struggles, the hardships, to the pain of mind and all of that. So, you know, and I'm always saying, but the greatest joy I have had is in giving. When you keep giving, you're also letting go. Letting go is the key to happiness, because the more you have, the more issues you will have. The less you have, greater the joy, right? So, but even if you have more, that's fine. But you have to learn the art of letting go from time to time. You can't get attached to things and say control. When we can't control our own self, for example, if you get a headache, if you get a stomach ache, you can't control it ourselves. So how can I control someone else? And maybe that person has not even got a stomach ache or a headache. But I have a headache and a stomach ache, but I'm trying to control the person who hasn't got a headache or a stomach ache. So, you need to assess yourself first before trying to go into the world. You have to make that assessment, and you have to have that cross individual happiness, always keep in mind. Life gives you so many tests to teach lessons, classrooms doesn't teach, so these life lessons are to test you. When adversity strikes, people think that my world is done. Why is it happening to me all the time? But when they get something nice, when they get something good, and when they inherit lots of nice things they, you know, aspire to achieve, do they ever ask, why me? They don't ask, right? But if something goes wrong, they will say, everything is happening to me. I do so many things, but everything's happening. But when I get something really good, you know, I never ask why me. So, and people must learn not to expect anything. Peace begins when expectations end. You know, um, just because I am doing good to others, I should not expect anything from them. You know, if they say a thank you, it's a bonus. But because I have done something, you know, at the end of my life, it will never be between me and anyone else, but between me and my good deeds and bad deeds. So when you leave and exit this world, you know, you have to be able to understand how much of credit is in your life journey or how much debit you have got. So you have to, like a bank balance, you have to bring them on par. So the most satisfying work, of course, is helping others, right? So that gives you the kind of joy that nothing else will. And even Mother Teresa said that serving humanity is the best work of life. But we don't have to do it like how we do it, dedicated every day. But every single day, when you do something nice, you know, you can rejoice in advancing years. It's not like possessing material things, but it's about, you know, we are born as humans because we want to avoid difficult times. But sometimes you're the manufacturer of your own, you know, problems and your own suffering and, you know, despair and worry, and everything is we manufacture, but we put it on other people. So if we look at ourselves and find where we are going wrong, then we can also make others, as I said, happy around us. You know, the most prized position also is integrity. So integrity is, I cannot tell you how important integrity is, because that way people will begin to have confidence in you, trust in you, faith in you. And that has blessings like no other. So I am always saying to people that you need to live a life of reality. And today, you know, the new wealth is acquiring inner peace. That is the new wealth, you know, acquiring inner peace. How many of us have that amazing prize possession of having inner wealth? If you don't have inner peace, so inner peace is equivalent to the new wealth, they say. So if you want to have a peace of mind, then you have to take that roadmap. If you want to have a PhD, then you have to present a thesis on anything that you're going to basically master. So like that, you have to find a way to manage your mind. You know, the mind at the end of the day is the CEO of your body, of yourself. Mind is the CEO. So mind tells you to go here, there, you are going, right? So you have to be able to master the mind and look at how the mind, you know, making up one's mind is the most difficult thing I think the world can pinpoint towards. You can do anything, but making up your mind, controlling, I mean, like more than controlling, restraining your mind is the greatest, most difficult task that you can accomplish. So, you know, I'm always trying to tell everybody to raise the bar, you know, not to go from bad to worse, but to go from, you know, good to good and go from light to light. Some go from light to light, some go from light to darkness, some go from darkness to light, and some go from light to darkness. So, we need to figure out ourselves. At the end of the day, if you ask, what is that you want to accomplish or aspire to achieve in life, they'll say happiness, right? They'll say happiness is what everybody wants, right? Not all the time, having a complicated life. So when you to 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 work towards happiness, there's a recipe, there's a roadmap, there's a menu that you have to follow, right? Without following that, you cannot achieve, the happiness, the joy, the bliss that we are looking for. Every day, that's why I ask people, it's if you tell somebody, come, let's watch TV, right? There's a lovely program going. Everybody wants to, what? If you tell them, okay, shall we sit down now and look at ourselves and do a self-assessment? Will they sit? No, 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 mom. I'll do it later because I have so much work. So that day never dawns. So you keep postponing because really good to do good is hard, right? To do anything not so good is easy. So you have to be able to understand your own mechanism and find ways how we can actually take one's life from happiness to happiness. I have seen in the world lots of top gurus, and HR experts when speak, and they tell amazing things that I have learned from. But if I don't apply that, into practice, how does that work? How does that work? So it's like someone saying, okay, I'm very thirsty and I found a well, right? But if I don't draw that from a bucket, that water, and drink, my thirst will not be quenched, right? It's like saying, okay, I'll change into the future. I'm young, I have enough time. So it's like going into the ocean and saying, I'll wait till the waves stop. It's not going to happen. So you have to put in that hard yards and do it. And anyway, who knows? The day we are born is the day we get the death sentence. But we don't know how and when. So you have to live today like your last day. And then what do you do? If somebody comes and tells me today is your last day, you have 24 hours. Nobody can predict. But if they tell me, then I want to do all the good things in this short time, right? So, and people keep it too late because when they get to an age where your faculties are, not the best, you're not very strong as, you were. So it's not easy at that time. Then also you recall lots of things that you didn't do right, So I think one thing is also the two most powerful words is I can. The two most powerful words are I can. And the 10 most powerful two-letter words are if it is to be, it is up to me. The 10 most powerful two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. So you have to now take a call, especially in this world, Hasina, where today so many people are struggling, with countless, numerous problems that they can't solve because the smartphone has taken them over, right? So you're either breaking rest, right? And you're stopping all the work the moment you think you should get into the smartphone. And that takes you a whole lot of your time. So you're compromising. So as a result, the illnesses come. All kinds of things starts to happen. So you have to also discipline your life, So I know as youngsters, we have to experiment various things. We have to have adventure. We have to take that journey, which we all did. But when it comes to a certain stage, you have to look at how, can I look at my grandmother and see how she is? Or can I take a look at my grandfather and see what I can take from them? Are they restless? That means they haven't done something right. Then are they getting very angry? Are they too greedy? Then, but on the other hand, if they are also displaying, they are very generous, they are virtuous, they have a lot of wisdom, they have walked that path beautifully. So that's what I feel, that each one must somehow find their own, assessment to drive this journey of life, you know, in a way it is of value. And to do that, you have to also be able to do a little bit of meditative reflection on yourself, as I say. You know, uh, there are other things as well. You got to think of good thoughts, say nice things, do good for others. Everything comes back, but people don't know that. So when you keep doing all good things, saying nice things and thinking of good thoughts, they all come back. So uh, sometimes I always tell people, thinking of doing good and pleasant speech and truthfulness will surpass the best marketing techniques. You know, Thinking of good and doing good, pleasant speech and truthfulness surpass the best marketing techniques. So, these are the things that we need to look at ourselves. And, however much you're learned, intelligence is one thing, wisdom is another. When you're intelligent, you can mastermind wholesomeness as well as unwholesomeness. Right? But if you have wisdom, you have then inherited fear and shame. Then you are really, really watchful with your actions. Would you do anything wrong? Would you take a bribe? No. You will say, no, that's not right. I will not do that. So that's one thing. And then a lot of people I find are religious but not spiritual. And if you want to improve that, you take action. So, people are people are born into a family, so you become religious. But you don't pursue beyond that to how to become spiritual. So anyway, I think I've spoken a lot in terms of what I can actually impart to the others of my own journey. And I like to leave this, conversation by saying, being born human, again, I reiterate, is one thing. And then ending up being human is another. So wishing loving kindness to all universal beings is an incomparable healing remedy. Is an incomparable healing remedy. Wishing everyone loving kindness. May they be well, safe, happy, experience good fortune. May they be joyful. May no harm come to them. You wish them. You don't have to say it. But if I go to a function, I always think within me, may all beings here be well, safe, and happy. So, and I think that is a universal, tested quality of incomparable healing power. And I hope whoever is listening, has learned something to put into practice. And I'm also saying the most beautiful attire is the smile. Thank you very much indeed, and many blessings for all the participants who have come on the World Growth Forum, for which I'm saluting and applauding you for promoting different topics for people and the listeners to become better than they used to be. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kushil Gunasekara, for your highly inspirational and moving keynote speech. Now, I would like to introduce our special guest for today, Ms. Deidre Moore-Janvier from the United States. Deidre Moore-Janvier is globally renowned for several reasons, having written the amazing book that has rapidly become a sensation in several countries is one of them. Her book, From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth, an African American story, is not only being read and applauded all over the world, but people are reacting to the stark realities and simple truths boldly told and explained in the book. Deidre is also a highly successful attorney in the United States and the chief executive officer of her law firm, Deidre Armour PC. She is also a mother of two, including a highly curious, intelligent, and socially aware young boy, who happens to be the electrifying spark for the birth of Deidre's amazing book. I would also like to read my review for Ms. Deidre's book, please. From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth, an African American story, is an amazingly fascinating read. This storytelling conversational story of the book keeps you highly engaged and you feel like compulsively read further without a break to know more, ever curious what's going to come up next. From Me to You is not a conventional history book. However, let me assure all the readers that you would get to learn a lot of history from this book. The book is filled with unlimited instances of highly exciting historical facts, which would inspire all and enhance their current level of historical knowledge. By this, I don't mean that the book is meant for history students. It contains innumerable facts from history, which would excite any reader of any age, from any country, with any level of historical knowledge. The topic of conversation in the book is quite interesting and informative. Author Deidre Moore-Janvier is a bold person to have talked about the complex topic of slavery, generating a lot of interest among readers, while keeping the entire topic of its coverage extremely easy to understand and learn. As the book creates instant interest and excitement as soon as you start reading it, and because of the ease with which you can cruise through the book, I would highly recommend all kids as well as elders and anyone who falls between the two age groups to read it for maximum satisfaction, interest, especially those who look for excitement and knowledge in any book they read. I strongly recommend the book to children because they would not only learn a lot, they may actually find a purpose for their life. The book would help them gather and focus their thoughts on what kind of human being they wish to become as they grow and what should they do when they have the power to do and make the world better for all. I strongly recommend the book for the elder generation because they would be able to reflect on what they did in their life in the light of some historical facts which can't be ignored. With their life experiences and wisdom, they should be now able to gather and focus their thoughts on what kind of human being they wish their children and fellow beings to become as they grow. They would be able to guide and help others seek and find the right direction and the right path in their lives. Everyone, go read and enlighten yourself. Thanks a lot, author Deidre Moore-Janvier, for writing this wonderful book and offering the world a second chance to correct whatever can still be reformed and improved. So we all may grow into better human beings and create a better world. Better not for one individual or for one school of thought or for one community or for one nation, but for all human beings in the right sense of Being Human. My best wishes for great success of your book. Now I invite Ms. Deidre Moore-Jonvie to please talk about her book, From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth, an African American story.
Thank you, Hasina, to you and your team at the World Growth Forum for inviting me to launch on this global stage my first book entitled From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth. I often refer to From Me to You as an African American story, but with multicultural benefits. From Me to You is multi-generational in that it is well suited for readers of young ages, adults, and people of varying ages, in fact. So first, thank you to Mascot Books for finding interest in my manuscript back in March of 2020, when you decided to offer me my first book deal. Thank you to Kate McDaniels, Michelle Meredith, Julie, Jenna, and of course, thank you to Michelle Garcia, my incredible public relations person at Amplify Publishing. I also want to send a special thank you to Dr. Pam Perry she's a PR consultant, and she has just been amazing in providing support to me, as well as Dr. Jacqueline King of Black Women Empowered, also Black Women Empowered Business Network, which is a group of individuals who I've just agreed to collaborate with, one being Dr. Jacqueline King, Dr. Matthew Knowles, and some other wonderful people. I just want to say thank you for your unwavering support of me throughout this writing experience, and certainly throughout just generally, just thank you. And there's so many other people that I'd like to thank, and I did thank, and they're located in the back part of my book, From Me to You. So this way I don't get in trouble for leaving someone out. And of course, thank you to my amazing family. Your unwavering support of me throughout this entire process is just so unbelievably grateful and humbling to me. All right. So what inspired me to write From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth was our then 8-year-old son, Justin. It would be back in September of 2019. My then 8-year-old son had the occasion to participate in a school program, which took him on a class trip to a nursing home here in New York State. Nursing home's name is the Hebrew Home, right? And while at the Hebrew Home, he had the opportunity to engage a Holocaust survivor. The gentleman informed them about the branding that was on his arms. He shared with them the many stories about the Holocaust and his family's experience. And so on the way back to the school bus, my son and his 8-year-old peer started talking to each other about the Holocaust and slavery. I was so impressed with hearing from my son that he and his 8-year-old peer were talking about subjects that adults don't even speak to each other about for whatever reasons. It would be later that evening when my son was getting ready for bed. He and I are conversing again. And he says to me, he said, "So mom, what's slavery really about?" Ugh. If I was on a chair, I would have fell over. If I was wearing pearls, I would have broke them. I was a little shocked because he's only 8 years old. And while I realized we'd given him something and he wanted more, I was just shocked that, oh my goodness, now is the time. I need to talk to him about this. And so what I did was I told him that I would give me some time and I'm going to make it a teachable moment for him and his peers. And so I gave him some more information, right? But then I went on a quest to find that resource that might assist me in pulling together this complex topic of slavery. Right. And I wanted it pulled together in a way where it wasn't traumatizing, because truth be told, we all know what lynchings look like. We all know what egregious conduct towards others can be like. I didn't need to see that in the material that I wanted to share with my son. I didn't need to see it on every single page is what I'm saying, right? So after checking my resources and realizing, I'm looking for that particular book that would guide me, but I'm not finding it. So I remembered that we invited a dear friend to my son's school. Her name is Edgewood Datakot. And she shared with the third graders what inspired her to write her first book, Crick Crack. And what inspired Edgewood Datakot was a quote by Toni Morrison. And the quote reads, "If there's a book you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it." And I remembered, I couldn't find what I wanted. I wanted my book to be accessible. I didn't want it to be traumatizing. And I wanted the who, what, when, where, how, and why of that complex topic of slavery to be found in one source. So I said, I couldn't find what I wanted that was narrated the way I wanted it to be. So let me follow Toni Morrison's quote and brilliant idea. And I wrote the book, From Me to You, The Power of Storytelling and Its Inherent Generational Wealth. And that's how it was birthed, right? So the book layout, it's important that I share a little bit about the book layout because it'll give you an idea of course, the content, but also about some other things. So the book is written, it's one book, is written in 3 parts, right? The first part of the book speaks to the diversity of people, connecting the reader, well, our son, to family and friends around the world. That's what I first did, right? The second part of the book covers historical moments ranging from exploration, colonization, the revolution, through to the civil rights era. And in the chapter surrounding the civil rights era, From Me to You features illustrations and short biographies of the most prominent 19th and 20th century civil rights activists, centering their voices with quotes and affirmations that are anchored in the time in which they lived, right? Starting with Ida B. Wells and ending with the former President Barack Obama. The third part of the book, it transitions with a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The poem is titled, Be Not the Slave of Your Own Past. And it speaks to, I like to illustrate it as if you're swimming out to a buoy out in the waters. And as you're swimming out, reflect on your history, reflect on yourself, and go through a rediscovery period. And by the time you come around that buoy, come back to shore, you'll have a renewed sense of who you are and what your life is worth, right? So I love that title, that Be Not the Slave of Your Own Past, right? And there are a variety of positive affirmations in the third part of the book, such as affirmations that say, I approve of myself, I am special, my parents are proud of me. And one of my favorites is, slavery is not my burden to carry. One of my favorite affirmations, right? These positive affirmations serve to remind our children and our young adults that we are a resilient, courageous, compassionate, optimistic, brilliant, and beautifully diverse group of people. And it is crucial that they receive these positive affirmations, if for no other reason, to counteract the often and unsolicited negative messages and harmful viewpoints from many sources, messages that serve to adversely affect Black and Brown people about who we are and what our life is worth. So I was so honored and grateful, having been inspired by my then 8-year-old son and his peers, that From Me to You was actually birthed. All right. And so I have, that book was published in June of 2022. And you can find From Me to You in the world's largest library, which is the Library of Congress. We're cataloged there. You'll find it on bookshelves throughout the New York Public Library, which I'm so grateful for. One independent school thus far has begun using it as a part of their 5th grade curriculum. It's been exposed to public schools. It's on this international platform, which I'm so grateful for. And it's been embraced in a way that I did not expect or anticipate, because I actually just wrote it to answer and to affirm a question posed by my 8-year-old son at the time, right? And so in June or July of 2023, I have the wonderful occasion of having 2 additional books published by Mascot Books. as well. And so one is the Civil Rights Movement. It's a coloring and activity book featuring phenomenal people with phenomenal stories. It's an 80-page coloring and activity book. And there are affirmations, quotes, biographies, but each illustration has a word search puzzle, right? And a lot of information that could, it's an educational tool as well. So I was so happy about the fact that I was able to do an 80-page coloring and activity book surrounding the civil rights movement. And the other book is titled Leaders of the Civil Rights Movement, featuring phenomenal people with phenomenal stories. And that is an associated book to the coloring and activity book, right? But in both of these books, the readers will learn about the men and women who fought for our rights and liberties and sacrificed their lives so that we could be free today. Folks like Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, Fannie Lou Hamer, Thurgood Marshall, Shirley Chisholm, and many more. They will read about their inspirational lives and how their contributions help to shape our lives today. And if I can just share one other thing, inside the book, I was asked a question about why did I write this book? And if I can just share that really quickly. In 2019, the Library of Congress created a select list of images of 20th century African-American activists. There were many images of notable African-American activists who made history. These images represent individuals who overcame adversity and changed the world, building a way for others to live better lives. After receiving and reviewing, I should say, these images representing strong, courageous African-American people, I quickly realized that these images are too important to just look at. So I thought to myself, how can I make this a teachable moment for our son and other children? Hence the creation of this book, The Civil Rights Movement, a coloring and activity book featuring phenomenal people with phenomenal stories. It consists of illustrations and background information about each person depicted who has made a profound impact in the lives of others. There are also famous quotes and affirmations from each individual with their voices anchored in the time in which they lived. Additionally, each illustration has a word search tailored to the biographical information referenced therein. So furthering my mission of sharing the importance of pouring into our youth and teaching them the value of investing in themselves and in learning about their history, I present to you The Civil Rights Movement, a coloring and activity book featuring phenomenal people with phenomenal stories. So those are the books, and all three books will be in the Library of Congress, cataloged in the Library of Congress. And I suspect that I will be blessed to have the Civil Rights Movement coloring and activity book, along with the associated book, to be found on the bookshelves next to From Me to You throughout the New York Public Libraries as well. And so there's been so many opportunities that have poured out of having written these materials, but I'm just so grateful to have been able to, in my mind, make a contribution that is a part of the solution. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Deirdre Moore-Johnweir, for such an enlightening presentation of your book. I once again wish you my best for a thundering success of your book. Now I would like to introduce the next keynote speaker of our virtual WGF-GBIF, Dr. Leo Simashko from Russia. Dr. Leo Simashko is the founder and president of Gandhian Global Harmony Association, GGHA, and state councillor of St. Petersburg, Russia. Dr. Simashko is a philosopher, sociologist, cyberneticist, and a peacemaker. He has dedicated his entire life towards global peace and global harmony. He is a profound follower of Mahatma Gandhi and his philosophy of nonviolence. Dr. Simashko, relying on its Newtonian law of experience, he developed his own philosophy of global harmony and societal experience, global peace, mega science, Sfeir-Younis, through scientific research, together with hundreds of colleagues from dozens of countries of about 50 years in which He has published more than 1,500 joint papers and 20 books in many languages. The Western scientists nominated him and his GGHA for their peacemaking Sfeir-Younis to the Nobel Peace Prize 3 times, 2013, 2017, and 2020. That is reflected on his website. Dr. Semashko would like to deliver his keynote speech in Russian. We are proud to present his keynote speech in both Russian and English languages to you. Now I invite Dr. Leo Semashko to deliver his keynote speech, please. The topic of his keynote speech is Gandhian Global Peace, the excellences of outpacing and just growth in all spheres.
I can in Russia. Хорошо, я буду говорить на русском. Значит, тема моего ключевого сообщения – это гандианский глобальный мир, преимущество опережающего и справедливого роста во всех сферах. Каждый может спросить меня, ну, во-первых, что такое гандианский мир глобальный, и, во-вторых, какие преимущества он обеспечивает, предполагает. Ну, гандианский мир – это мир, который построен на открытии Махатмой Ганди в 1927 году Варн-Сферонов. Я должен сразу подчеркнуть, что Ганди жестко различал те варны, которые существовали в древней Индии, от переродившихся через 1000 лет варн как касты. Он говорил, варны – это не касты. Касты – это извращение варн. Вот это нужно очень четко понимать. И я буду говорить о варнах не в смысле каст, потому что это плохие варны, а буду говорить о варнах Ганди как изначальных, равных, которые обеспечили древней индийской цивилизации мировое лидерство во всех сферах. Это был золотой век человечества, золотой век Индии. К сожалению, о нем практически никаких сведений достоверных не осталось. И мы можем судить только вот по тем сообщениям, которые нам оставил Ганди. А Ганди говорил, что варны – это такие большие группы населения, которые равны между собой и различаются по профессиям, по различным родам занятости. И вот ГСГ построил свою гандианскую науку глобального мира именно на этой идее, на идее равенства варн, сферон. Мы назвали эти варны сферонами, потому что варны – это древняя Индия, а сфероны – это варны человечества в целом. А Ганди подчеркивал, что варны, варновская структура овладеет человечеством. Но чтобы не путать их, значит, мы ввели вот эти разные понятия, но они идентичны по содержанию. Так вот, в чем же преимущество гандианского мира сферонов, то есть варн, равных варн? Первое и главное преимущество заключается в том, что развитие, рост в каждой сфере освобождается от дискриминационных социальных различий между классами, между разными группами, как в современном обществе. Есть бедные, есть богатые. Эта дискриминация, она сдерживает рост во всех сферах. Есть образованные люди, и есть невежественные люди. Это тоже дискриминация по образованию, она тоже сдерживает рост во всех сферах и так далее. Так вот, первое преимущество это равенство людей всех по варнам, по сферонам, и тогда снимаются, тогда рост и развитие во всех сферах и в любом обществе снимается вот от этих дискриминационных различий, от этих дискриминационных препятствий, которые мешают развитию, тормозят его, препятствуют и так далее, и так далее. И в этом-то заключается высшая справедливость гандианского мира, потому что все несправедливости в нашем мире тысячелетия идут как раз от неравенства, от дискриминации по экономическим основаниям, по политическим основаниям, по основаниям образования и так далее. Что конкретно, какие еще это ну, естественно, что главное, что нужно и о чем люди всегда мечтают, это равенство, это справедливость. А понятия равенства и справедливости по сути являются идентичными, потому что не может быть справедливости без равенства. Так же, как равенство не может быть без справедливости. Но каковы конкретные преимущества справедливого мира, гандианского справедливого мира? Ну, прежде всего возьмем экономику. Экономика организована по принципу неравенства, по принципу дискриминации по разным основаниям. Это большой сложный вопрос. Я, естественно, не могу его касаться в целом. Я коснусь только общей организации экономики, материального производства. Оно организовано по отраслям. И сами отрасли эти воплощают дискриминацию, неравенство. То есть отрасли, ну, как бы так можно сказать, низшего труда, непрофессионального, примитивного труда и так далее. И есть отрасли высокопрофессионального труда. Значит, равенство, оно снимает вот это различие, снимает это препятствие, и все люди равны, все участники производства равны, все они в равной мере участвуют в производстве. И поэтому материальное производство, оно освобождается вот от этих препятствий, от этих дискриминационных препятствий и получает возможность ускоренного развития в 2, в 3, в 4 раза более ускоренными темпами оно может расти и развиваться. Ну, это вот кратко по поводу экономики. Что касается политики, тоже очень важный вопрос. Мы сейчас видим, что в политике заняты люди, которых проталкивают или которые представляют интересы элиты, богатейших людей, людей, обладающих большими материальными состояниями. А люди среднего и тем более низшего достатка, они фактически, их представительство фактически отсутствует в парламентах, правительствах, в управляющих органах. Так вот, гандианский мир, построенный на равных сферонах, он требует и обеспечивает равное представительство сферонов во власти. И здесь уже не может быть дискриминации по богатству, по образованию, по разному представительству разных классов в парламентах, в органах управления. Вот. И в связи с этим демократия становится истинной. Демократия становится действительно народной, не элитарной какой-то одной маленькой части богатых миллиардеров, а народа в целом. Потому что сфероны охватывают народ в целом и делят его на 4 равные части. Равные, но не по численности, а равные по социальному положению, по социальному статусу, наделяя равными экономическими, политическими и другими правами каждый из этих сферонов. Конечно, нам сейчас, тысячелетиями жившими в подобного форме ложной демократии, трудно себе это представить, как это можно сделать. Но так было в Древней Индии, так было в минойской цивилизации на Крите, которую изучала известный американский антрополог. И тогда примеры есть, но они они забыты, к сожалению, и наука, к сожалению, их не изучает, политика ими не интересуется, деньги, финансирование на эти исследования не выделяются, поэтому наши знания об этих явлениях, которые были характерны золотому веку человечества, они практически не изучены и мало известны нам. Вот. Аналогично, значит, очень важным препятствием и очень важной несправедливостью и очень важным тормозом роста во всех сферах является гендерное неравенство, гендерная несправедливость. Известно, что женщины на втором месте находятся, они второстепенные. Первую роль в управлении и во всех сферах практически играют мужчины. Это особенно видно в политике. И поэтому политика носит такой мужской, брутальный, насильственный характер. эта политика мало обращает внимания на женщин и на детей. Самая обездоленная часть населения во всех странах, даже самых богатых, это дети. Они не имеют голоса, они не имеют представительства в парламентах и так далее, и так далее. Все, что они получают, ну, как говорят, крошки с барского стола. То, что остается после, значит, вооружений, то, что остается после удовлетворения потребностей миллиардеров, которые тратят миллиарды на собственные яхты, дачи и так далее. Женщины и дети остаются на втором плане. И это очень мощный тормоз. То есть, по сути говоря, на развитие, на рост общества работают только мужчины, а женщины и дети, они как бы исполняют второстепенную подсобную роль. Они не включены в активный рост во всех сферах. Ну, естественно, по мере своих сил возможностей. Они не имеют достаточного образования, они не имеют достаточных средств для выполнения высокопрофессиональной работы и так далее, и так далее. Они все время ограничены, они все время в дискриминации. Вот. И поэтому вместо фактора и стимула роста и развития эти группы населения становятся тормозом, препятствием. А это традиционная система. Значит, вот гандианская система, гандианский мир, гандианская организация производства, она эту дискриминацию снимает, освобождает общество и так далее. Значит, глобальный союз гармонии, который 18 лет разрабатывает эту науку, гандианскую науку глобального мира, у него есть проекты, книги, публикации по всем этим темам. У нас более 1500 публикаций, более 11 книг у ГСГ и 85 миротворческих проектов. Естественно, я не могу сейчас обо всем этом рассказать. Все они опубликованы у нас на нашем сайте. Вот, уходит какое-то продвижение, но мы вышли сейчас на такой уровень, когда нам необходимо финансирование, нам необходимо такая инвестиции в наши разработки. У нас есть мощные разработки глобальной статистики, мощные разработки искусственного интеллекта, глобальной статистики и гандианской науки и так далее. Это такие вещи, такие отрасли знания высоко трудоемкие, которые требуют высококвалифицированного труда и оплаты этого труда. Вот. Поэтому сейчас, через 18 лет, мы достигли того уровня, когда мы можем продвигать эти преимущества, говорить о них, вот, но только в том случае, если мы получим финансирование. Мы очень надеемся, Хасина, на вашу помощь, на вашу поддержку, вот хотя бы в области искусственного интеллекта, о чем вы как-то мне написали. Но я понимаю, вы сейчас очень заняты, и поэтому потом к этому вернемся. Вот. Мы могли бы для начала создать какую-то небольшую фирму, корпорацию небольшую, там 15-20 человек, программистов, математиков, экономистов, вот, в Индии, естественно, с вашим участием, под вашим руководством, вот, и запустить профессиональную работу в этом. То есть то, что мы сейчас делаем, это любительская работа, это не профессиональная работа. Но наш задел, он имеет уникальную, беспрецедентную ценность, потому что он заключает в себе зерно новых совершенно технологий, организации общественного производства и так далее. Но это требует уже профессиональной работы. То есть мы прошли 18 лет большой этап подготовительный, создали, теперь нужно с этого подниматься на новый уровень. Но этот уровень требует инвестирования, финансирования, требует профессиональной организации. И мы очень надеемся на вашу персональную, личную заинтересованность, вас и Анама, вот, с тем, чтобы в Индии начать эту работу. Индия, по-моему, ну, я уже об этом писал и говорил, это самая подготовленная к этой работе страна. Россия, к сожалению, страдает пережитками марксизма, страдает своим пренебрежением к Ганди, гандианскому ненасилию. В России 100 лет марксисты строили все на насилии, вот, революционной классовой борьбе, уничтожающей классы и так далее. И эти пережитки, они сохраняются до сих пор, к сожалению, к большому сожалению. Вот. И потому что все мои, я почти полвека пытаюсь достучаться до наших властей, до наших бизнесменов, чтобы они обратили внимание на эти работы, на эти инновационные проекты. Но 50 лет я встречаю только одно равнодушие. Во-первых, потому что Ганди. А что такое для нас Ганди? Ганди – это ничто. У нас никто не знает Ганди, и нам не нужно гандианское ненасилие. Вот. На нас все нападают, мы должны вооружаться, мы должны делать ядерные бомбы, ядерное оружие. Это главное. Главное – вооруженные силы. Ну, со всеми вытекающими последствиями. Вот. Во-вторых, ну, отсюда тоже самое, значит, Ганди, Индия, нам нужны собственные источники и так далее. Вот, поэтому Индия в наибольшей мере подготовлена вот к этой инновационной прорывной работе, значение, ее значение приобретает мировой масштаб. И Индия, вот, возрождая наследие Ганди столетней давности, имеет все возможности в течение 10-15 лет стать мировым лидером. Именно Индия в наибольшей мере приспособлена своей историей, античной историей, гандианским наследием к этому прорыву. Вот, поэтому я очень обращаю ваше внимание, внимание индийских бизнесменов, ваших политических партий, которые ценят Ганди, ценят его наследие, которые хотят его практически продвигать, что вам нужно, у вас много институтов Ганди создано, но их надо направить вот в это русло, в русло, которое он заложил 100 лет назад, ну почти в 1927 году, вот в своей газете «Молодая Индия» он начал писать о сферонах, о варных сферонах и так далее. Вот. Я готов, у нас в ГСГ очень много материала на этот счет, и мы готовы все это передать вам, молодым индийским ученым, журналистам, бизнесменам, политикам, которые заинтересованы в том, чтобы двигать Индию вперед. Она сейчас хорошо двигается, но она может еще быстрее двигаться. Именно возрождая вот эту идею Ганди, идею Варн-Сферонов. Но вот в научной интерпретацию, которую мы создали, получили за 18 лет. Вот. В России нас практически никто не понимает. Главное, не хотят понимать. У них нет того менталитета. А в Индии у вас этот менталитет есть. Он есть и в гандианском наследии, и он есть в ваших религиях. В религиях индуизма, буддизма и других. Индийские религии более гуманистичны, чем западное христианство, даже включая ортодоксальную православную церковь, российскую религию, которая наиболее прогрессивна, чем католичество и более гуманистична. Но тем не менее, вот в России она, значит, имеет свои пределы, ограничения и так далее. Еще раз, но я об этом говорил, писал в предыдущих вам, значит, о значении Индии в развитии науки глобального мира. Индия должна взять на себя эту инициативу и должна открыть миру, человечеству выход из того жуткого ядерного тупика, в который пришло человечество под влиянием католического христианства Запада, которое проявило и проявляет себя как антигуманная ветвь. Ветвь, направленная не на развитие и сохранение человечества, а на собственное обогащение, на собственную гегемонию, на сохранение, собственно говоря, колониальной системой, неоколониальной по отношению к другому миру. Вот есть 1 золотой миллиард, они считают, это высшая раса, этот миллиард может и должен править остальными 7 миллиардами людей. Это несправедливость, высшая несправедливость. И она является высшим, самым грубым, сильным препятствием всякого роста в человечестве и во всех других странах. Особенно вот для стран третьего мира, особенно для Индии, Китая, Африки, Латинской Америки. Вот эти регионы, это третий мир так называемый, для гегемона, для Запада, золотого миллиарда. Вот. И, естественно, вот российская идея, которую сейчас Путин сильно продвигает, идея многополярного мира, которая очень сильно продвигается в БРИКСе, в объединении БРИКС. Вот. Это, конечно, очень позитивный шаг. Но это недостаточный шаг. Это шаг, касающийся только 5 стран. А стран всего 200. Значит, надо думать и о других тоже. Вот. Ну, тут много других. Вот. Но кто-то должен начать. Но я считаю, что если Россия не может и не способна развивать и использовать наследие Ганди для ускоренного роста третьего мира, то это должна сделать Индия как хранительница наследия великого, величайшего наследия интеллектуального, морального наследия Махатмы Ганди. Это наследие осталось еще не раскрытым. Оно осталось освоенным только на 5–10%. А 90% этого наследия гандианского остается в туне, остается нераскрытым. И от этого страдает все человечество. Потому что Ганди все это открыл 100 лет назад. И 100 лет это лежит мертвым грузом. Никто об этом не думает. Никто не хочет об этом. Запад не хочет думать, потому что он считает, что только Запад, он исключительный, он высший, а Индия это и Ганди это презренный факир полуголый, как Черчилль говорил о Ганди. Вот. Ну, раз полуголый факир, что с него возьмешь? Задвинуть его в угол, забыть его. Вот. А вот у этого факира оказалась такая идея, до которой Черчилль никогда не смог додуматься. Ни Черчилль, ни Трумэн, никто на Западе. Никто. Вот. Поэтому вот Индия должна на это обратить внимание. И должна финансировать, инвестировать в эту идею. Она заслуживает. И вы получите дивиденды в 10, сотни раз превышающие ваши затраты, ваши первичные инвестирования. Но для этого нужны смелые люди, мыслящие люди. Вот вы, а нам, и, наверное, все ваше окружение как раз вот таким мышлением обладаете. Поэтому я очень надеюсь, что вот после этого форума мы более серьезно будем общаться на эту тему. Я вам более детально покажу, где и что, как можно делать. Ну, прежде всего, вот вы искусственный интеллект. Значит, у меня есть планы всего, какую организацию создать, с чего она должна начать, какие работы и так далее, и так далее. Все это есть у меня. Вот. Все это ждет только заинтересованного бизнесмена с инвестициями, чтобы можно было набрать команду математиков, экономистов, программистов, которые за бесплатно работать не будут. Им надо платить. Понимаете, да? Вот. Это энтузиасты вроде меня могут бесплатно работать. Но такая моя судьба, такая моя миссия. Я не обижаюсь. Это мое призвание от Бога и от других причин. Потому что моего отца убила война, а вот гандианская идея сферонов позволила мне убить войну и заявлять, что я знаю, как можно построить общество без войны. Его можно построить на основе гандианских сферонов. И знает это только я, знает только ГСГ. Больше этого никто не знает. И тут масса других еще преимуществ, вот, которые остаются, как говорится, за кадром.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leo Simashko, for sharing your great philosophy and decades of research with us. It was a wonderful keynote speech. The world leaders must make a note. Now I would like to introduce the next keynote speaker of our virtual WGF-GBIF, Ms. Elaine Matto from South Africa. Elaine Matto is the legatee and ex officio to an organization called Generation Hip Hop Global Social Enterprise. She has inherited as sole heir from her late partner and founder, Terence Berry, given they both built the organization together over the years. Elaine attended the JHB Art Ballet Music and Drama School, now called the National School of Art, in 1974, matriculating in 1978. Later, she was accepted at the Macalise School of Art, University of Cape Town, UCT, for a fine art degree. Her work experience has been varied in the creative field, starting in an advertising agency and showed a neutral flair of marketing. In 1990, she started her own business as an art curator and creative consultant, mostly in the corporate market. Now I invite Ms. Elaine Matteo to deliver her keynote speech, please. The topic of her keynote speech is South Africa is a land of heritage, natural beauty, music, and incredible experiences. Let's enhance amazing opportunities of worldwide networking for mutual growth in South Africa.
Hello, my name's Elaine. I'm Terence Barry's partner, widow. It was through Terence Barry that we built Generation Hip Hop from South Africa. So it is a proudly South African initiative that we coined that phrase, proudly so. South Africa as a country is as beautiful as you have seen. It is also culturally a very diverse country, and the beauty of it is as paradoxical as it is harsh. We have the most stunning coastline, as it is treacherous. We have the most exquisite mountain ranges that stretch vast and wide. Our African bushveld is breathtaking, as it is just awe-inspiring, with our wildlife that's wild and dangerous. And I guess it's against this background that we as South Africans are born into this incredible country that gives us our innate sense of boldness and inspiration, innovative, and our creativity is just phenomenal. I just love our creative aspect of South Africans and our industrialist, philanthropist attributes that we have. And I think it's also that it makes the weather, I think we have the best weather in the world, and I think it's the weather that gives us that very sunny disposition as being very friendly, open, and hospitable as a country, as a people. Terence Barry and I actually went back some 40 years ago as art school students at the Art, Ballet and Music School that became the National School of the Arts. And from that, some famous people you might recognize is Charlize Theron and Mark Bauer, who is a Hollywood fashion designer. And I guess that Terence is going to go down in history as having united the world of hip hop under one brand, one movement that was all for the love of humanity, for the youth, for the upliftment, the empowerment, the inspiration, and to give the youth of today hope for the future. And it's within the sheer love of music, rap, hip hop, dance, which is your b-boys. And one of our b-boys, Stretch TBB, said that it is ballet, really, doing ballet on the sky, upside down. I love that. And the art, which is graffiti, which is so urban, it's so edgy, that as we pass graffiti on the wall, it's like those moments that sort of spark one's thought-provoking messages that come across. So yeah, the thing is, Terence actually sort of went into the world of music. That's where he diversified after we left school. He became this phenomenal, great artist, performing artist. He taught himself a 12-string guitar, and he performed, and apparently he had the most stunning voice. I know that when he spoke, he was so commanding in the way he presented to world philanthropists, politicians. He could talk to anyone, to the man on the street, and kids loved him. So yeah, he he formed later in life, he actually formed a very successful music production company in Cape Town and built it up to international connections in the music industry. But I guess there was something that he was searching for, something that he could actually give his heart and soul to. And he identified that in hip hop. And it's something that when you talk to the youth today about hip hop, it's something like lights up in their eyes and their hearts. And that was it. That captivated him. He literally, Hasina, walked away from this production company, music production company. He named Generation Hip Hop Global. He designed the logo. He put it in his back pocket and he left for a little coastal town called Plettenberg Bay. And he sat there amongst the youth in the backpackers, talking to the youth coming into South Africa. What better place to start a global youth organization than sitting amongst the youth and hearing what they feel about hip hop, about life, about their future, about hope, their aspirations. And that is where he started the build of Generation Hip Hop. And that is where we then came together. We met in this little coastal town called Plettenberg Bay. And I got off this little aeroplane because it's a very small little coastal town. And I recognized him immediately some 40 years later. And he literally took my hand and he never let go. And that's how we actually came back together again in life. Now, I had always remained in the arts. In fact, I had already painted a collection of artwork with our African rain queen, Queen Majaji, that's here in the Northwest. It's culturally, it's historic that this is the real royal house of rain queens, a very matriarchal, centuries-old royal house. And it's been said that she actually, in earlier centuries, had actually consulted with Shaka Zulu. He would send in his officials to consult with her. And likewise, so did our Nelson Mandela. When he was released from prison, he actually consulted with her. And I find that absolutely fascinating. And during the years that Nelson Mandela and her, they formed a very cordial friendship until her death a few years later. And that is what I painted, a whole collection, huge paintings that are now going on auction in Texas, Dallas, and globally. So it's at the beginning of June. So yeah, that's the one aspect. And the other aspect is I'd always been in the arts, but I went into the Cedar Platinum Incubator, run by Anglo Gold and Platinum. Because I went back to what I'm really good at, which is design and sculpture. And I designed men's jewelry that caught the attention of De Beers Diamond Company. And it was under those circumstances that I sort of re-met with Terence. And he said to me, I've got the world of hip hop under Generation Hip Hop. And you know that the hip hop artists and everyone loves the jewelry and the accessories. And I got the license for Generation Hip Hop Global license and the chapter license for everything that is precious metal and stones. I've literally designed the Generation Hip Hop logo jewelry. I have also, since Terence's passing, designed and named our own cryptocurrency, our digital currency. And I know in my heart that he would absolutely love it. So Under those circumstances, we came together and we literally were back to back, side by side, in the build of Generation Hip Hop. We put everything we had into the build of Generation Hip Hop from South Africa. And by 2020, we had built it into 70 chapter countries strong. And during that time, in 2019, he was battling with his health, because everything was always go, go, go with Generation Hip Hop, 24/7, 7 days a week, no break. We just were at it all the time. And he neglected his health. And that was when we discovered he had throat cancer. And it was a mad dash down to the infamous hospital, critical care hospital, who were absolutely incredible. After 6 months of grueling treatment, he was declared cancer in remission. It was then that the global pandemic hit at the same time. So it was a crazy time for all of us. You know, as he was released from treatment, this global pandemic hit. And I must tell you that that was when he said to me that all the years we had sacrificed for Generation Hip Hop, all the years he had researched this cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, which was already very much part of the music industry, with investors investing in NFTs with the music industry. And I must tell you that Terence was a genius. He was highly intelligent. I mean, he could speed read and comprehend all at the same time. He excelled in everything he touched. And it took him a while to actually comprehend this whole cryptocurrency, digital currency thing. And that is when he said to me, you know, with everything shutting down during the global pandemic, that he pulled all the research that he had done with the industry's best. And I'm talking about a person that was appointed by the US government that went in to research the Russian cryptocurrency that were way advanced at the time. He spoke to him. He spoke to our Russian chapter member. He spoke to people here in South Africa. And through a contact, we were introduced to our award-winning software man, who Terence then worked with very closely in building our fully integrated progressive communications cyber platform. So this was all happening behind the scenes during the pandemic, when travel bans were enforced. We were not able to launch Generation Hip Hop in Manhattan because of the travel bans. We were actually going to ask Ndaba to be the key speaker for the launch of Generation Hip Hop. But yeah, because of the unpredictability of travel bans, we had to call that off. But here we were. We were sitting with this incredible gift, that I call it, that Terence left behind for Generation Hip Hop. And yeah, so the thing is that he passed away, and I think, you know, when a captain of the ship falls, it sort of left everyone in his wake. But he hasn't left me unprepared for Generation Hip Hop to move forward. Terence actually left me the ownership of Generation Hip Hop Global. That is the organization, to ensure that his mandate, his wishes, and his vision are carried through for this organization. Now, the cyber platform is something that not many traditional business people get. But when you have a cyber platform that is built and it's fully integrated and connected out in the world, you can run a social enterprise. This makes video conference calls, Facebook, emails almost obsolete, because you have everything in cyber. We bring everything that is generation hip hop onto the cyber platform. We have our own radio station connecting all the world's DJs together, talking. That is content, that is playing music, that is sharing ideas, that is context, which the advertising revenue now becomes very phenomenal. In fact, advertising revenue, advertising licenses. Now, don't forget, we've got the merchandising for Generation Hip Hop. Terence spoke to a good few international companies for the merchandising. That is our T-shirts, our hoodies, our accessories. Everything is integrated on the cyber platform, including our website, which we are going to be releasing shortly. So yeah, the advertising, the investment opportunities become phenomenal. And now that I have the new steering committee within Generation Hip Hop, Global Social Enterprise registered, our investors are rallying around us again, which is wonderful. And we are open to new investors and new proposals. Now, Terence had spoken to the top industries for our cause-related marketing. I don't know if I should mention their names, but that's the level that we had reached at the time of his, towards the end of his life. That the chairman, the international chairman for Coca-Cola International, for example, was very interested in what we were doing. The Forbes magazine had actually followed Terence, the chief editor had actually followed Terence over the years in the build of Generation Hip Hop because of his intrigue with hip hop. So, Hasina, you've done wonderful to actually stay close to us as World Growth Forums magazine. And thank you to Adam as well for introducing us. I really appreciate that. And and thank you for that wonderful tribute that you did to Terence. That was deeply, deeply appreciated. So yes, I definitely see incredible opportunities that we can take forward with World Growth Forums, with your investors, to get behind Generation Hip Hop and to realize the vision that this man had for the youth of the world. And the future's looking bright again. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elaine Mato, for your keynote speech. Now, I would like to introduce the next keynote speaker of our virtual WGF-GBIF, Mr. Adam Greenwell from New Zealand. Mr. Adam Greenwell is the principal of Adam Greenwell Agency Limited in New Zealand. It is an Auckland-based company connecting international businesses to New Zealand while promoting New Zealand brands worldwide. Mr. Adam is passionate about the future of New Zealand, having both studied New Zealand society at Massey University and written a book on the subject. He is working especially in cybersecurity, commerce, and the global humanitarian legacy of his late mother, Professor Elizabeth Greenwell, watering the fields of humanity. Now I invite Mr. Adam Greenwell to deliver his keynote speech, please. The topic of his keynote speech is New Zealand is a land of culture, beauty, and wonderful experiences. Come and explore amazing opportunities of business and investment in New Zealand.
Greetings, my friends in India, New Zealand, and the world. Whakapono e na iwi hui. Whakapono e te atua. Whakapono e te araha e mo te katoa. I greet you all in the Māori language, o te reo, Māori, an official language of New Zealand since 1987. We call our opening greetings a mihi, a word of thanks. My mihi, translated into Māori from my own words, declares that I believe in the expression and the practical living out of the love of God and others, so that the benefits of such can be measured in all aspects of social, community, and public life. As well as being a core mandate of my personal faith, that belief is also the cornerstone of New Zealand and New Zealand society as we know it. An accord between Māori and missionaries to New Zealand, culminating in not only the first sermon delivered here, but also the first roads, the first bridges, tourism and industry, the first ox-drawn carts, agricultural practices, led in a spirit of true friendship and faith in a God who meets our daily needs, yet is universal and timeless throughout the ages. New Zealand was founded on something my friend Rawiri Love, founder of Smiley Media, terms God-centered infrastructure. Out of that history grew the spirit of non-violence through the example of New Zealand Māori prophet Rongamai Te Whiti, whose example at Parihaka against treatment the New Zealand government has since apologised for as most shameful, inspired a young Indian lawyer in South Africa, whom we came to know as Mahatma Gandhi, the father of India. It is with and through World Growth Forums that we welcome and believe in an inspired and empowered relationship between New Zealand and India, the world's largest democracy and soon to overtake China as the world's most populous country, with accounts of business growth and development fused with hope and inspiration to build a better world and society. World Growth Forums was the first outlet to report the Easter Hikoi, or journey, led by Rawiri Love, including churches, ethnicities, and groups from all backgrounds to retrace the history and wairua, or spirituality, leading to the first gospel message preached in New Zealand by the Reverend Samuel Marsden, with the support of Ngāpuhi, the largest tribe in New Zealand. Members of the Ngāpuhi tribe hosted the hikoi for that visit at Oteria Marae, home of Ngāte Hine, Ngāpuhi's largest subtribe. World Growth Forums magazine was also the first media group to clarify that Sir Roger Douglas, former finance minister of New Zealand, was not quite the politician as portrayed in public life for the past 4 decades. Instead, Sir Roger was presented as the author of reforms that had less to do with neoliberalism and more to do with the equitable delivery of social goals at the heart of the formation of New Zealand's welfare state, one of the world's first pensions for the elderly. World Growth Forums, our friends, stand with New Zealand at the threshold of overcoming a 210 billion New Zealand dollar infrastructure deficit that was there even before the flooding and cyclone that swept the country at the beginning of 2023. To address the $31 billion that New Zealand needs to spend every year to maintain roads, rail, bridges, hospitals, schools, etc., policy experts have called for people to work together with increased private sector investment. Together with our friends at World Growth Forums, we can offer key technologies and educational initiatives. We can restore the vision and virtues of piety, industry, prudence, and perseverance upon which this great country was founded. Most importantly, all of that means that we must realign modern New Zealand society with the trust, friendship, goodwill, and good faith that we started with, like the house built on a rock that will always stand. To give you but one example, I was once emailed a paper titled Developing Resilience, Adaptability, and Transformability in the Fourth Industrial Revolution and Era of Artificial Intelligence by the University of Auckland's James Poir, as part of his master's thesis in the Faculty of Engineering. This research paper led to James achieving the Fowles Memorial Prize of 2018, a prize for the most distinguished honours or master student in each faculty, or LSRI, Large Scale Research Institute. James's research alone presents 12 key emerging technologies. New Zealand is already one of the world's most culturally diverse societies, made unique by Māoridom. We can easily be a mainstay of global peace and security through the advancement of education, culture, and science. As related in James's paper, to better manage the challenges of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and artificial intelligence, businesses in New Zealand would need to enhance their strategic business planning, incorporating future-proof strategies and workforce strategies. The government and the education sectors would need to be more proactive to provide support and create an optimum environment for businesses to thrive, facilitate skills update, reskill its workforce, and streamline the education curriculum to align with future businesses' needs in the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the era of artificial intelligence. Some of the most insurmountable challenges in life have been overcome by the meek, who have inherited their portion of the earth with humility and quiet faith. It was so in the foundation of New Zealand. It was so in the establishment of India. It will be so in the addressing of huge infrastructure deficits with God-centered infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adam Greenwell, for your phenomenal keynote speech. I must mention here the importance of virtual forums is ever increasing in a rapidly virtualizing world, as is evident from the virtual forums of the United Nations, the World Bank, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, and the World Health Organization. However, World Growth Forum should soon launch its physical Global Business and Investment Forum. World Growth Forums would also launch more platforms of excellence, offering more opportunities of mutual growth at regional, national, and international levels. We would share more in our upcoming editions of WGF Magazine, WGF iTalks, WGF webinars, WGF panel discussions, and our upcoming physical World Growth Forums Global Business and Investment Forum. Though it was a highly exciting 3-day journey, we have now come to the end of our 3-day virtual World Growth Forums Global Business and Investment Forum, or as we affectionately call it, the Virtual WGF-GBIF. It was a great experience and a proof that all of us inherently wish and work for a better world, consistently trying to improve our fields of profession, businesses, organizations, our societies, communities, and the general economic, administrative, social, and judicial order of our region, country, or the entire world. Our ways and paces are different. However, various world leaders from different countries during our 3-day virtual WGF-GBIF have shared their and wished and even suggested how together a better world can be created. The most powerful factor is working together. Even if our philosophies, mindsets, capabilities, and ways of thinking and working are different, only the direction needs to be the same or similar towards gradual improvements till we are satisfied with the progress. It's very similar to thousands or millions of tributaries moving in the same direction, meeting and confluencing to become more powerful at different stages and places, and then finally converging into a vast ocean of unlimited possibilities and positivities. With complete inclusiveness of races, colors, castes, religions, and nations into one whole of humanity. World Growth Forums is a platform of excellence for anyone and everyone who believes in a positive growth of world through untiring and ingenious contribution in their professional and personal lives. Alone, each one of us have moved mountains and won professional and personal battles. Together, we can transform and empower the entire globe into a sphere of excellence, ease, and efficacy, where only growth, success, camaraderie, and joy exist, sense any form of negativity and unnecessary struggles. We firmly believe that together we can create a better future for the world. World Growth Forums understands that there are exclusive and extraordinary nation builders who possess fearless excellence through which they have been consistently pioneering ingenious pathways of growth in the country of their primary profession and then in the world as a chain reaction. Honoring such rare excellence at an exclusive platform of excellence, World Growth Forums is committed to positive growth of the world. In partnership with the exclusive and extraordinary nation builders, World Growth Forums desires all willing and desiring heads and hands to converge to create a better world. Personally, I and the entire team of World Growth Forums thank all opening speakers, keynote speakers, panelists, and our special guest, Ms. Deirdre Moore-Janvier. We are sure that all of us together were successful in creating a fabric of oneness in our direction for a better world. There might be many in the world who might pick threads of inspiration from the philosophies and thoughts of all keynote speakers and panelists and weave their own success stories in the future. We thank all our participants and our viewers. Good day to everyone. Thank you. We conclude our 3-day virtual World Growth Forums Global Business and Investment Forum. This is Hasina Parvin, CEO and Editor-in-Chief of World Growth Forums. It was a great hosting and moderating virtual WGF-GBIF for 3 days. Allow me to sign off. Bye. Take care.